Welcome to Broken Tweed. My name is Cheyenne Brown, and if you don't know what we do here, we are a magazine that is all about democratizing good design. That means affordable and accessible interiors, home decor, and architecture for you. If that piques your interest, please subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the magazine. The links will be below, and keep on watching. Today, I'm joined by Jasmine Parker. Jasmine is a lifestyle journalist at Tatler, and she covers all things food, travel, and culture. She has a Substack called Delusions of Grandeur, which we'll link below with all of her socials. So I'm going to welcome Jasmine.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Very happy to have you as well. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for giving us a tweet talk. You are our first guest, so it's a good opportunity to set customs. One custom that I want to set is that each guest brings an item that their home would not be complete without. What have you brought for us today?
I have bought, these look a little silly and tiny. They are my coasters from Singapore. I bought these I went on a trip to Singapore last April, and I found this sweet little souvenir shop on TikTok. So I went and sought it out in one of the markets. And Singapore is quite famous for its street food. And so I got two of these little coasters that represent its street food, the famous chili crab that we tried. And then we also went to Lau Pa Sat, where they have Satay Street, which I think is one of the places they film Crazy Rich Asians. So I to try the satay sticks, which were amazing. So I felt like this was such a sweet way to commemorate our trip. And we use them all the time. They've ended up just being one of those things, they sit on our coffee table day and night. We use them literally every day, and I feel like that's such a fun example of how to make a souvenir chic, rather than the same old fridge magnet. Yeah,
exactly. On the topic of that, actually, I was going to ask you later on, but might as well ask now.
Yeah.
What constitutes a chic souvenir? Because a lot of people kind of steer away from souvenirs when they're traveling because they're just like, oh my gosh, I don't want it to look cheap, or I don't want it to cheapen the home. So what would you say constitutes a chic souvenir, and how can we pick up souvenirs that are really tasteful home decor?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with a little tacky souvenir. Firstly, I think they're fun done in little amounts. We don't have a magnetic fridge, but I have a little magnetic board that sits on the wall opposite our fridge. And I collect food themed magnets from everywhere I go. So I have a little hot dog from Denmark. I have some bread and wine from France. I have fondue from Switzerland. And I feel like that's slightly more nice if you have them all in a theme, a way of doing it rather than just general city magnets. But I also think thinking about things you'll use. So for example, my parents went to Greece and they brought me back this really lovely olive wood spoon salad serving set. And it's so gorgeous. I use it all the time. It's such a nice thing to have that makes the home nicer and elevates, your serveware. But it's also a nice memory back to a trip you've done in the past. I also love a bit of hotel merch. So I spend a lot of money whenever there's a hotel gift shop. I spent a lot of money at the Raffles Singapore gift shop, which I didn't even stay in. But I bought all the merch for the long bar. I bought a lovely, they have these gorgeous Art Deco posters of the long bar. So I bought one of those for when we eventually have a bar in the home, and I can frame that and have it above the bar. I have hats and sweatshirts from Gleneagles. So I always spend up a lot of money in the hotel gift shop. So
necessary, and I feel like I really get you. I feel like a bar isn't a bar without some Art Deco reference in it.
Yeah.
It's so necessary. Before recording this, I saw that you recently wrote on your Substack Delusions of Grandeur about romanticizing Leicestershire as if it were the Cotswolds.
Yes.
And I just wanted to ask as well, how important do you think being delulu or romanticization is just for home design?
You know what? I think this word delusional, delulu, is this thing that's having a big moment on TikTok. And I'm sure there's lots of people that think it's a bit silly. But I actually think it's such a wonderful thing to find the joy in everything, right? And, there's so much wonderful homeware out there on Pinterest and TikTok, so much inspiration to take, but so much of it kind of unaffordable and unreachable, like you say. And I think it's so important to romanticize the little things. And, it doesn't matter if your fake silverware came from H&M Home. It doesn't, no one has to know. It still looks nice. You can still enjoy it, right? I think you can take enjoyment from every little thing.
Exactly, yeah. I couldn't agree more. And on the topic of your home, tell us what your style is and what we could expect if we were guests.
I don't think my home currently is my style because we're renting and it's temporary.
That's very
But
fair.
in my ideal world, my Pinterest board that's like future home, it's a lot of stripes. It's a lot of England country aesthetic. I would say there's a little bit of like New England kind of what I always forget what the flower's called. New England like hydrangea style aesthetic. That's like the dream. Almost like, the Ralph Lauren Christmas thing was so popular.
Yeah.
Almost like that.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, it's so interesting because I was going to ask you about this as well. That you are a bit of a Burberry gal,
I am.
as an honorary Burberry gal who was loyal through the Riccardo Tisci years. I'm so intrigued by that. And how much do you feel that like your personal style seeps into how you style your home and how your dream home would be?
Yeah, I think it's probably been a real evolution for me. When I was a teenager and growing up in like the mid 2010s, when everything was like loud and Tumblr core and Instagram aesthetic, my room then as a teenager was very loud and over the top. And I feel like as I've grown up, I'm now focusing more in my wardrobe on like wearing more neutrals and what things can I wear again and again and again and are just staples. And I do feel like it's the same in homeware now I've grown up. I'm like, actually, I just want a calm, serene space where everything feels very neutral. And I'm not firstly going to want to change it in 6 months, a year, 2 years, but also where, it's a relaxing space and it doesn't feel like it's kind of overcrowding your mind too much.
Oh, definitely. I feel like that is it's so interesting that that's been a real movement in 2026 with like people turning away from like dopamine decor and just decor that's focused on trend. And people are kind of finding themselves through their design a bit more. Give us an idea of your living situation. Do you live in a flat? Do you live in a house? Do you like it? What are you working on anything or are you planning to? And do you share it with anyone?
I live in a new build at the moment, a rented new build flat with my boyfriend. So that's our kind of situation for the foreseeable future. I would obviously love to buy in the future. But for the moment, I feel like, it's lovely being able to rent a flat in London in like an area that's decent to get to work. And I don't have to worry about any of the things that come with home ownership.
Yes.
And I can, I feel like the space is neutral enough being a new build that it doesn't need any work and that's nice and easy. But also it is, neutral enough, like I say, that you can kind of put any spin on it.
I like that as well. It's kind of like a blank slate for you to just do what you want, which is quite refreshing because sometimes I know everybody's kind of like, I don't want a renter-friendly or a builder-grade thing. But actually, there is so much power in actually being able to say, it doesn't matter where I live, I can just kind of take my decor with me.
Yeah, I think there's also so much power in just being able to say, it's easy and like it's what I need at the moment.
Exactly. For those who aren't familiar with the journalism path, how did you get into this line of work? And was it always the plan?
It's funny that it wasn't the plan for a long time, but it felt like it really should have been. I don't know, I think it was really staring me in the face and I didn't realize for a long time. I started writing for my school newspaper when I was 12, I think. I took over as editor from the age of 14 and I did that right up until I left school. And when I went off to university, I actually had no intention of joining the student newspaper that we were both on.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I had no intention of joining and my flatmate happened to go along to their welcome meeting in Freshers Week and I was like, okay, I'll go. And then I was just kind of wrapped by it. I was desperate to be a part and on the exec. And I worked my way up to being editor-in-chief. And then obviously we both went to City and did masters there. So I did my masters in magazine journalism. And towards the end of the course, I just spotted the Tatler job advertised on the website and applied. And that was really it, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting, like what you were saying about just not really knowing that was for you, but it kind of all the way through, you see yourself heading in that direction. I have noticed that so much of your work is very aesthetics and very visual. How does your personal style affect your design tastes? And also, when did aesthetics start mattering to you?
It's funny that I feel like I care probably a little bit too much now about my Instagram feed. But growing up, I never used Instagram. I was the last of my friends to join social media. I didn't post on Instagram until I think I was 18. I just couldn't stand the idea of everyone looking at me. That actually the first kind of social media platform that I joined was Pinterest when I was, I think, 11 or 12. So I feel like that probably
it's like an awakening.
Yeah. But I think I've always had an eye for, my dad always said I always had an eye for a good photograph. So I think I've always been interested in imagery and visuals, and I think that has just kind of expanded as I've grown up.
Going into travel, a lot of your work entails travel. Can you tell us about a place that you've been that has kind of imprinted in your brain, inspired the way that you style or are styling your home, and why?
There's so many places that I've been to that have really imprinted in my brain. I keep like a running list of the hotels in my mind that I would dream of visiting, and because obviously working on our travel guides, you know, I spend a lot of my time just looking at the photos of them, kind of all of my working day. So it's a long time to be looking at these things that I want to go to. I would say I was very lucky last year to tick Gleneagles off of my hotel bucket list in Scotland. And I think that was probably the one of the places that I've stayed in that would most influence my own homeware style. I think that kind of classic Britishness and Scottishness. It's very eclectic, but in a homely and not overcrowded way. You know, things like you come out of your hotel room and you walk through, there's like a lobby on each floor, and they have a little sitting area with books and games. And, you know, every time we would walk through that lobby, we would sit down and play a game of tic-tac-toe because we just thought it was fun. And I think that's something I've not seen too much in hotel spaces. And I think it's a design you would really take and put into your own home.
Exactly, yeah. And I guess that lived in feel of just being able to, feeling so comfortable that you can just go and play tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting what you're saying about Scottish design as well, because of what you're saying about like the Ralph Lauren aesthetic, and people are trying to get it because it's codified into this, but really it's coming from that like heritage style. And yeah, I was going to ask as well, what place have you traveled, if any, that you feel was like a second home?
I'm going to say my parents' house. It's funny that having grown up, you know, having moved away, I now feel like I have my city home, and then my parents, as we discussed, live in Leicestershire. They live in a gorgeous Georgian farmhouse in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. So I feel like that's my, like, you know, in my dreams where I have, you know, where I'm an aristocrat and I have my city pad, and then my country escape, and that's like my country escape
The
to
dream.
go there. It's so lovely whenever I go home. It's such a nice escape actually from the city, and things are so much slower there. It's quite nice going from London where everything's so busy to actually just being in a place where it's literally in the middle of nowhere, and, you know, we can just walk to the farm shop and that's the day's activity.
That is so stunning. And I feel like, and also it just shows like what you were saying in terms of like the authenticity of a place, that you can kind of go around the world, but actually there's no place like home.
Oh my God, totally. I think that's really what I've realised in the last few years since leaving Leicestershire and moving to London.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of Broken Tweed's audience are, I would say, working to a tight budget, and they want to see beautiful things that inspire them in their own home design, but they can't really try it all. What places and things would you say are worth it, or how would you quantify something that's worth it for somebody who's on a tight budget?
I think in terms of hotels, it's always more about how it makes you feel than it is the kind of aesthetics and what it looks like. I think for me, the hotels that stand out in my mind, it's always just that I've had the most incredible experience there. The hospitality has just been so next level. One of the things that really stands out in my mind is when I was lucky enough to stay at Raffles Sentosa last year, just after it opened. And we took just a normal like public taxi to the hotel, and they opened the door of my boyfriend's side of the car first, and they saw him first. And they went, "Oh, Mr. Bart, welcome." And he couldn't believe that they recognized him. You know, they knew his name, and he wasn't even the one reviewing the hotel. I think it's things like that. It goes such a long way. But I think if you're on a budget, I would have to say I stayed in a hotel in Paris called Hotel Le Degas, which was really fun for like design inspiration. It was designed by Luke Edward Hall, who is a collaborator of the V&A and Burberry, and I believe Diptyque. There are Diptyque products in all the bathrooms.
Yes.
It was like ridiculously cheap for central Paris. It's not in like the best area, but it was a lovely place to stay.
Yes, and I guess as well, Luke Edward Hall was like a name floating around in my FT days before I knew I wanted to do interiors. So it's so interesting. It's like a buzzword of like, I know it's good.
Totally. Yeah, it was a gorgeous hotel.
Do you host people in your flat? And if so, are there any like hosting hacks or things that you saw on your travels that kind of changed the way that you host that you would recommend?
I do love to host. I feel like hosting like hospitality, like I said, is so much about how you make people feel. I think I read these tips online, and one of them was like, just make it easy for people is one of the best pieces of advice. I think they suggested something that I've really picked up doing, which is when I have friends over, I live in a flat in a big building, and it's like, send them, just a screenshot of all the directions, all the instructions written out in your notes app. So it's nice and easy to find the place. They know how to get in. They don't have to ask you questions. They don't have to like forget where it is or how it, or look up your address from past messages. Just making it easy for people, I think in many ways is like the best thing you can do.
I think I definitely need to think about that book. To be cheeky, what place would you not return to and why?
I really don't know about this one. You know what, I have to say, I went to Suffolk on the weekend.
Same, actually.
Because I had to run an errand to run. And it's funny because when we were at City and we had our patches where we had to do our news stories, Suffolk was my patch.
You were given Suffolk?
Suffolk was my patch, specifically around Elephant and Castle. And I was
Never go to Elephant Castle.
And I remembered, I was like, it doesn't feel so great. But also what was interesting was one of my news stories at the time was about the regeneration they were trying to do. And the regeneration really hasn't moved along as far as I can see since I was last there. So.
Yeah, it's such a weird place because I remember, so I moved to London to study at City in 2021. And I remember that place was just scaffolding galore. They now have I think UAL's expanded their buildings, and then they have a shopping centre, which isn't really much of a shopping centre. And they've done quite a bit on the high street, but it's it's kind of still in a weird place where it's in between becoming.
Yes.
And also there's you get a lot of the strangeness of it still there. I remember when I was there, you get a bit scared because there'd be random people playing with firecrackers or you just have a really odd encounter with someone outside the Sainsbury's. Yeah. But I feel it's so weird because they're we're getting there, and I'm I've lived here for 5 years now. But
no, I'm sure you were expecting me to say something more exciting, but that's my cop-out answer.
No, honestly, it's not even a cop-out because I feel everybody who knows Elephant and Castle is going to agree. What non-visual elements elevate a space for you?
Ooh. I don't know. I hadn't thought about this one. I think it's probably smell has got to be the big thing. I think things like candles, and I have a lovely fabric scent, I think, or a room spray that my friend got me as a moving in gift from Zara Home. It's jasmine scented, very on the nose. But I love spraying that all over the sofa before people come over, and I think it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there. I think scent is such a massive one. If you had to make a guide for the perfect itinerary, what would your 3 tips be?
Well, I love to plan. My dad always says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And those are words that I live by. I think he's very wise. So I think you've got to do your research, you've got to plan, and you've got to book in advance. There are not many trips that I've done where I haven't booked everything in advance because I'm very type A. Obviously, if you go places in off season, you can be lucky. But in my experience, I just think, if there's something you want to go to or somewhere you want to eat, just booking it makes it so much easier. I used to like to plan via spreadsheets, which I feel is the most boring way to plan a holiday. I would do AM and PM, the morning slot and the afternoon slot. Now I use Notion, which is just my Bible for everything. It's my whole life is on there, my recipe book, my go-to, home and life admin things, but also my travel. So I list all my trips. They all have a separate page. I write at the top the itinerary. I write below everything I want to do. I make sure that everything, any restaurants I've booked so I don't forget about them are in there, all the flight details, all the hotel details. So I can pre-plan out what time we need to leave for the airport. And then I just feel very on top of it. And it's very easily reachable. So I think that's got to be it.
See, I really like that. And I also feel holiday by spreadsheet actually sounds, and especially using a Notion template and things, it just sounds such a good way to do a holiday, because I think some of my worst holidays is when I've just thought I'm just gonna sit on the beach, and then you sit on the beach for the first 3 hours of the week and you're oh, I have a whole week left and I haven't planned anything. And then I guess as well you also get haggled for prices and things when you haven't booked in advance. So that's such a good way to do it.
My dad and I once cooked an entire Christmas dinner via spreadsheet. So it really can be used for anything. He trained as an accountant, so that's why we both love a spreadsheet.
That is needed, because I feel like when Christmas came around this time, I was just kind of like, I'm just going to offload this to everybody else. Because I didn't even have like the bandwidth to think what needs to be cooked and bought and when. So that actually sounds really good.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. There you go.
There we go. Onto food. A lot of your content online is kind of at restaurants, cafes, and other food locations, and also food on your travels as well. What places would you recommend for design lovers on the foodie scene?
Oh, I have to say the one that immediately comes to mind is Ambassador's Clubhouse, which is in Mayfair. It's a sister of Gymkhana and Brigadier's in the city, which I also love. But Brigadier's is more, sort of city boys, party focused. It's a very fun night out. But Ambassador's Club, being in Mayfair, is very glitzy. They have the most incredible centerpiece bar, which I love so much. I just posted it on my Instagram feed. It's just gorgeous. It's such a glitzy fit out. I think it makes it for such a fun night out. I would definitely have to say that. I always love Claridge's. I think you can't not love Claridge's.
You can't go wrong with Claridge's.
The service is just incredible every single time. And it is a gorgeous example of that Art Deco style. So.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's just stunning. And what makes a dining setting chic to you?
Ooh. For me, I feel like eating by flickering candlelight is always the thing. I remember going to my aunt's house for dinner a few years ago. I guess I must have been, in my teenage years, and they had just these unscented tall candles flickering on the table. I was like, wow, this is so chic. And I think it just really imprinted on me for some reason. Now I'm like, we've always got to have candles in the house.
Yes, I feel like I can agree with that, because I recently just went to Belgium, and I felt like if the cafe had either a fire, like a real fire, or real candles, I was just like, I'm in.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if the tea was bad. I was like, this is necessary. I need to see fire. Maybe that's kind of chaotic. I don't know if you've heard of the term girl dinner.
I love a girl dinner.
Oh, I'm glad. I love a girl dinner. What would your go-to girl dinner be?
I feel like when you think of girl dinner, you think snack plate. I love a snack plate, but I feel like my perfect girl dinner is also like a pasta without protein. I feel like it's very much a girl dinner, not really a full meal, but it's acceptable. So I would have to say a spicy vodka pasta is my favorite. I feel like it's so basic, but I just love it. And I love it so much. Whenever my boyfriend goes to the US for work, I make him bring back, they sell the Carbone spicy vodka sauce in jars there from the supermarket. And I make him load up and bring them back to the UK. And that's like my dream dinner, is just spicy vodka pasta at home. It's just perfect.
That does actually sound really, really
No
good.
vegetables, no protein. That's all it needs.
Yeah, just straight in.
A big bowl of that.
Oh, that sounds lush, actually. Have you ever walked out of a restaurant just because of its appearance or feel? And what would you say are kind of deal breakers or red flags in a restaurant?
I don't think I ever have walked out. I feel like I do my research, and I like to, if I heard this thing years ago that was booking a holiday is really good for your mental health because it gives you something to look forward to. And I have decided to take that and live by it. So I'm the same with like when I book a restaurant, I want to really look forward to this meal. I want to look up the menu online and decide exactly what I'm going to have. And then I'm going to pretend to look at the menu when we get there. But I already know because I've been thinking about this for weeks, I stumbled across someone the other day who said that they said to me like, oh, no one looks at the website before they go to the restaurant. I was like, well, let me tell you something, because I do. So I think by the time I get there, I've already done the looking it up on TikTok and what are people posting about on Instagram and exactly what's it look like and what are the best looking dishes. I'm very prepared. I would say the thing for me is, again, service. I think if the service is poor, that's kind of what leaves a lasting impression. But equally, I think mistakes happen. And some of the most memorable experiences I've had are where like there was a tiny mistake and they really went over and above and beyond to fix it, and you end up feeling like, my goodness, they made the tiniest mistake ever, and it wasn't even really a mistake, but they've apologized for it so well, and it leaves you with a really great impression. So I think that's kind of a rule to live by for hospitality.
Yes, and I feel like I'm also quite shocked by that. So people are there genuinely just people out there who don't check up the menu beforehand?
I know, I just don't. What's the fun? You know?
That sounds terrifying to me. Like, I know.
But I also think I saw someone say, I think on TikTok, they were like, I booked this restaurant and then I got there and there wasn't anything I wanted to eat. And I'm like, well, why would you let that happen? Why wouldn't you check that there's something you want to eat before you go to the restaurant? Because otherwise, why would I book a table, you know?
Yeah, it just feels like, I don't know, I just feel like you're kind of just going in blindfolded then at that point. I don't know. I don't like that, especially with food. I feel like I'm very picky, so I feel like I have to kind of know it to a T, and like you say, just kind of fake the like, oh, that looks interesting, but you know what you want.
I know exactly what I'm having. Yeah. I could have pre-ordered weeks ago.
What is the coolest dinnerware or glassware that you have seen at a restaurant, and where did you see it?
Oh, I know exactly what this is. I went to the new Chancery Rosewood in Grosvenor Square in September when it opened, and I had dinner at their lovely Mediterranean restaurant, Sarah. And they had the most incredible glasses on the table that were kind of, I don't know how to describe them now, normal glasses, like clear colorless glass, but they had these orange little sort of 3D polka dots on them, almost in the way that you would make like Murano glass, that sort of technique.
Ooh,
but they were just gorgeous, and I was obsessed with them. And they were very, like textile, like they were nice to hold. They really made an impression on me. I just thought it was like a classic drinking glass, but so fun. It was just for water. It wasn't like a fancy cocktail glass or anything, but they were so fun. And I loved them so much, I immediately started tracking down where to buy them from. And I only haven't bought them because we live in a rented flat at the moment. We don't have the space to keep them for the future. But I absolutely loved them, and they made a real impression on me.
I won't ask you to not gatekeep, because I'm sure you're probably thinking,
sell out.
Yeah, you don't want to sell out.
I then saw them at Petersham Nurseries at the shop there, so they are available. They are around.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check them out. I feel like glassware's been such a massive thing for me at the moment, just because kind of last year I watched Blown Away, which is like a glassware competition, and now I'm like seeing how hard it is to make glass objects. I'm just kind of like, oh, that's twisted Venetian glass. Oh, I really want that now.
Yeah, I dream of owning one of those Murano glass chandeliers. I think they're gorgeous.
My gosh, it's literally my dream. I feel like every room in the flat has to have a chandelier, but like that is, if I could, a Murano glass chandelier would be the dream. If you could recommend places that you use, or even that you're hoping to use, to get affordable dinnerware and glassware, where would you suggest?
You know what, having mentioned earlier, I bought a lovely stainless steel tray from H&M Home. I feel like if you looked at it, you wouldn't know it was from H&M Home.
They really are doing the thing.
And it was very reasonably priced, and I feel like it's going to get a lot of use out of it. So I totally recommend H&M Home. Not my first purchase from there, and I doubt it will be my last. I'm also really loving Anthropologie at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
I bought some lovely tartan plates on there that I saw them on the website when they were new in, and I thought, no, I don't need those. I won't buy them. And then this one creator on TikTok that I love for her homeware style kept posting them. She had them. I was like, oh, they're really nice plates. And then I saw them on sale for Black Friday sale, and I had a gift card, so I had to buy them. So I love Anthropologie. I love stalking the new in on Anthropologie section. That will be where I'm shopping when I need to buy like a whole new suite of homeware.
I think they're really nailing it. And I love H&M Home just because and like you were saying earlier about like Zara Home as well. Like, I just feel like there's something so weird, because you wouldn't think it's high street when you see the objects. You're just a bit like, this looks like something you'd find a lot of the time. It looks like something that you'd find in like one of the stores on Pimlico Road. I think they're so chic. And do you have any hosting wisdom from your food writing in terms of just setting the atmosphere with dinnerware, glassware, interiors, decor?
My homeware collection is very limited because of living in it's all like plain white plates. I feel like where you can have fun is like a fun candle or a fun disposable napkin. I have some pumpkin-shaped napkins that I got from Flying Tiger a while ago that I used for like when I have my friends around for a little autumn pumpkin spice thing. I feel like things like that are so easy.
In a post-COVID world, what is the point of traveling and trying new restaurants?
feel like, what is life if you don't try new things and, go and have fun, right? I think, it's tough in the cost of living crisis trying to balance making ends meet and saving a reasonable amount of money, but also, we need to be happy and we need to do things. I think there are some great budget hotels out there and brilliant budget restaurants in London, all over the place. There's a great place in King's Cross that I've forgotten the name of, but Japanese food that's just excellent every time and it's so reasonably priced. There are lots of small businesses in London that need support. I think even if you're on a budget, there are loads of ways that you can go out and still have fun with your friends. Even if it's just you're on a budget and maybe you're having a no spend month or a no spend weekend and you can just go and have a lovely walk in the park. I went for a lovely walk around Primrose Hill the other week, and then we walked down through Regent's Park and we walked down the back of the zoo and we had a fun time watching the animals. And that was all free. I feel like there's so much you can do, especially being in London.
Oh yeah.
Putting your mind to it if you just, get determined to get out there and make the most of it.
From your experience and kind of viewpoint in the lifestyle space, what trends do you think will be huge in 2026?
I feel like the thing that I keep seeing everyone talk about is, time. I think it's Tamsin from the Rhubarb Society, I love on TikTok and Instagram. I think she made a video talking about, in a world now where everything is duped and everything is available on Shein and Temu, I think that's how you say it. Everything is kind of accessible now. There's a dupe for everything. And I think in a way, those kind of lofty design styles become accessible to everyone. And so I think if we're thinking about luxury, it's, the idea of time. People say really time is the ultimate luxury, right? To be able to do whatever you want with your time and not have the constraints of a 9 to 5 must be nice.
Oh, yeah.
I think the real luxury will become kind of individual pieces that you find like antique shopping or at a thrift market or, complete one-offs that other people can't dupe and copy. And, it's just completely yours and people can be envious of your style, but they don't necessarily have the time to go out and find things like that. I think that will start to be the real thing that we see. There's another, I think the TikToker Hallie, I think it's Hallie. She's based in New York. She has the most incredible collection of like vintage designer clothes. And I think, again, it's like having that time to go out and search for those things. That will be a real luxury because you can't just go out and spend the money or order it, from Selfridges. You have to have the time or the like resources or connections to be able to find those pieces in the first place.
Oh, yes, definitely. And I feel like as well, like even hand-me-downs as well. I've seen such a massive resurgence of people going like, oh, look at these like vintage bags that my mom passed down to me. And I think as well, because we are as a culture so obsessed with Nepo babies, it's like we know we can never really have that kind of acclaim, but we know that our mom might have like a vintage, I don't know, like Delvaux bag or something that she could just like hand it down to us. Or just like you have like a piece, I don't know, like a mantle clock that's like worth thousands that your parents just had and didn't really know it was worth something.
I know, yeah. Do you ever think, I do this when I'm buying things, I justify it as like, well, this is going to influence my incredible wardrobe that someday my child will have passed down to them, and it's really preservation for my future child.
Oh yes, this is the justification. Like, I feel like my mom is kind of in that place where she's now kind of like, it's okay if I buy more of these things because I'm going to pass them down to you one day, and I'm like, mother, like, but then I'm also kind of thinking I'm the same.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely. I feel like I've done that recently with like. In the renovation with just the chandelier that I got from a vintage marketplace, and it's just like an antique French Empire chandelier, and I was just kind of like, it's 300, but it's gonna last for it stood the test of time. It's gonna last forever, and my kids are gonna be so pleased when they have this gorgeous chandelier in their house.
They're going to thank me for spending that money. Yeah.
I'm assuming they'll have a house and like society will still be standing, but like it'll just be them in their chandelier. What are you most excited about generally, just in your life and in this year?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was just telling you before we started, I'm doing all my 2026 holiday planning. So I'm very excited to go off on more travels. I feel like I like to start the year with a few things booked in place and then see what else develops and what happens. And I'm very excited to see what's ahead and what other new exciting places I might be exploring.
Yes, if anyone wants to check that out as well. Jasmine obviously has her Substack where she'll talk about it, but also you will be sharing it on your socials. So I'll definitely link those below. Thank you, Jasmine, for your tweet talk. And it's been amazing to have you share your knowledge and also expose a world that a lot of us want to see. Thank you so much to everyone at home who has listened to the end. If you genuinely liked this, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. If you didn't, let us know in the comments why. Of course, engage with Jasmine stuff because it's really, really good. And also subscribe to Tatler because they are really amazing. Please let me know how we can improve. I read every comment and appreciate all the feedback. And yeah, have a great week.